Broadcasting to the Wizarding World since 2008.
HPANA's official Harry Potter podcast.
Official Harry Potter podcast.
This is Hogwarts Radio. This is Hogwarts Radio, episode 208 for August 12th, 2018. Hogwarts Radio's HPANA.com's podcast discussing all things Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and the rest of the Wizarding World. For the quickest up-to-date news on the franchise, make sure you check out HPANA.com. Hello, everyone, and this is Hogwarts Radio, broadcasting to Harry Potter fans worldwide since 2008. I'm Terrence Pinkston.
I'm Bailey Riddle.
I'm Luke Hogan.
I'm Gretchen Rush.
And I'm Kelsey Cooper.
Our show can be found virtually anywhere online, such as iTunes, the Google Podcasts app, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and other places where podcasts are aggregated.
It doesn't matter where or how you listen, just make sure to tap the subscribe button and we guarantee you'll have a new episode each Sunday.
We also invite you to visit hogwartsradio.com for on-demand episodes of the podcast. While you're there, you can browse the site to learn more about the show, the people behind the microphone, and how you can become a part of the team.
Hogwarts Radio is also on Patreon. By pledging, you'll have instant access to many benefits, including exclusive merchandise, host vlogs, behind-the-scenes planning of the show, Hogshead Radio, and much more. Visit patreon.com/Hogwarts Radio to sign up today. Welcome, everybody, to episode 208, and it feels nice to come back after a week off, to get back into the swing of things, but I feel like I'm totally lost.
Yeah, it was very weird to be off. I was like, Thursday at 9? What am I doing?
My plans have opened up.
What was I doing? Probably playing games, because I was at Gen Con.
That's right. You were at Gen Con,
Yeah.
and you did Harry Potter yoga at Gen Con.
I did. It was really cool. It was a really cool experience. The yoga instructor, she was in her Ravenclaw robes, and she had her wand, and she had us kind of organize ourselves by house. So, it was 8 a.m., so there were a lot of Ravenclaws and literally 0 Gryffindors, which was awkward. Gryffindors make an effort, but it was cool because
to sleep in.
Yeah, they definitely slept in. But she had renamed every yoga move as a Harry Potter thing. It was awesome. We did Happy Mandrake instead of Happy Baby. We did Wizard 1 and Wizard 2 with Dancing Wizard instead of Warrior 1 and 2. And we did a Veela flow. So it was just super fun to do the yoga, but be Harry Potter. Would you guys ever do that?
I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I could.
Maybe later in the day.
Yeah. I don't know.
Evening yoga.
Yeah, evening yoga where no one judges how non-flexible I am.
I do yoga now, so yeah, I'm in. Especially if it's more interesting with Harry Potter themed. I know you had mentioned that you were considering bringing your Smarmy Lucart Funko Pop with you. Did you end up bringing him with you?
I did, and he was so lazy. He just laid on the mat the entire time.
He's real stiff. He's such a
I
stiff.
can't imagine he's very flexible.
He can essentially move his head back and forth a little bit. That's about it.
He did that part. He kind of did the neck flexion with us, but other than that,
at least he showed up.
He did.
Better than others.
He's like, I'll be in Avada Kedavra or whatever we called corpse pose.
I couldn't imagine doing a downward facing serious pose or something like that.
Yeah, she called it downward fluffy.
There you go.
It was so good. Shout out to Robin. I don't know where Robin lives or teaches. We didn't get that information, but she was awesome. Robin the Ravenclaw. If you know her, she was awesome.
So it sounds like you had a lot of fun at Gen Con. Did you get the chance to meet up with any of our listeners or guests?
Well, I met up with Carrie. You probably know her from her Instagram or Twitter. She is a Hermione cosplayer, and she does really awesome stuff. So I got to meet up with her on Sunday, and she was dressed up as Prisoner of Azkaban Hermione. So she had the jeans and the rainbow belt and the time turner, and her hair was... Yeah, the pink zip up, and her hair was done the way that Hermione has it. She looked just like her. So if you head to our Instagram page, you can see the picture of us from our meetup there, which was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, we had her on the show back 185, 186, somewhere around there, and she back then she was telling us about her trip to Ecuador she was going to take, and that has since happened. So she kind of reached out to me and said, hey, I would like to come back on the show and talk about my experience at Ecuador, because it was pretty cool, because she was like one of the featured cosplayers there. I mean, they flew her out there, they took care of her, they put her up, and she was there along with a couple of other cosplayers, and also the guy that played Victor Crumb from the Harry Potter films. So they got a couple of pictures together. Yeah, that was really, really cool. Really cool. Her Instagram is just amazing. One of my favorite accounts. Well, now that we've had time to stretch, I guess, to kind of kick off our episode. I know I'm kind of shaking it off. I'm a little rusty here. My smarmy Luke Hart is nowhere to be found right now. In fact, I think he's in my bag. Oh, poor Smarmy.
No.
I take him to work every day.
Did you lose Smarmy again?
Yeah. But let's give a little update on some procreating happening by the Nifflers.
Oh, boy.
That was a hard transition. I am so sorry, guys. Yeah, that was totally rough. So we had it. Okay, so this is I'm going to call this the Baby Niffler saga, because over at HPA&A, Jeff posted a couple of pictures last week, and Facebook, WB reached out to Facebook and said, no, take him down, because they weren't ready to go out yet. And we got them from some French Harry Potter site, if I'm not mistaken. So, they've already been passed around at that point. So Jeff, of course, took him down and all that stuff. But then a couple of days ago, Entertainment Weekly had the scoop on these baby Nifflers, and everybody went crazy. I don't know about these things, guys. They look a little ugly to me.
I nearly died looking at them. Like, it hurt my heart.
Well, someone showed me the pictures that leaked originally, and there was one of those that was super cute. But I feel like these ones, I don't know. I'm torn on them.
Oh, come on, they look like guinea pigs, right? I mean, just a little different.
No.
I can definitely
I'm
see
allergic.
the appeal.
I'm allergic to guinea pigs.
All right. That is perfect reason to hate something. I'm okay with that.
They weren't quite as cute as I was hoping for. I think there's potential with other colored Nifflers, but I'm not a fan of the one that was posted on Entertainment Weekly.
The one holding the coin, or the one with Eddie Redmayne?
The one with Eddie Redmayne. The one with the coin was a little cuter.
Yeah, I'm looking at the one with the coin. I'm a bigger fan of that picture.
Kelsey, it sounds like you thought that they were all cute.
I thought everything was cute, but I'm not gonna lie. I pretty much watch every animal in the Fantastic Beasts, and I'm like, I love it. I love it.
Just want to squish its face.
Yeah, you see
Even the one in the trailer with the big tusks.
Yes.
The Yuwa?
The Zoa?
Zoa, yeah.
Zow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Zoa.
I love them all.
What kind of a role do we think the baby Nifflers will play in the film?
None.
Cute background.
Yeah.
That's it?
Nothing.
That's it?
Mischief. I think they're going to be a part of the scene in the trailer that we saw where it almost seemed like choreographed mischief that the Niffler was going to be put to use in the middle of a street. I feel like they could have a part to play in whatever that scene entails.
Yeah, you imagine it's like a plethora of Nifflers just popping out of Newt's suitcase, like overflowing and going to various spots. That's what the movie is, guys. That's what the movie is.
That'll be fun.
Part 3 is going to be chasing down all these Nifflers. The crimes of Nifflers.
That's the whole movie 3.
Yeah.
Is got to catch them all, baby Nifflers.
Ties into the app.
Newt Ketchum.
Newt Ketchum.
Then you can really go chase the Niffler.
And then the next movie, they're going to release 150 more because he caught all for the first 150.
Ooh, speaking of, I wonder when that game's going to come out that they're developing. That kind of...
it's got to be a part of like the promotion towards the end, like the last 2... I mean, it's got to be soon, right? Because
yeah,
the movie comes out in November. It feels like it should come out as a promo for the movie, for how hand-in-hand it seems.
I agree. We'll see if we can dig up some information on that, reach out to Warner Brothers, maybe get an update for you guys by next episode. Okay, moving on, we have a rock update from Luke this week. So, Luke, who did you listen to?
Lauren Fairweather. I went through and listened to Lauren Fairweather's The Prince's Tale, and I found it to be incredibly impressive how this album goes through and breaks apart a single chapter from the main book series and captures such like emotion, imagery, and character unpacking in just a handful of songs. One, it explodes this chapter out into a lot of different parts, but it does each part so well. Musically, this album would kind of fall into a classic singer-songwriter, girl with a guitar, pub alternative type genre. It's great storytelling. The music really isn't trying to do too much, and it just lets the story do all the talking. Very, very good album. My favorite song was Mudblood. The heartbreak that comes in this tune is really done well. This is about Severus, who makes his mistake and says some words in anger towards Sirius and James, and from that kind of learns that some wounds are irreparable and friendships and or more can end at times, and that's kind of a hard lesson for anybody. It's a really, really great song. It's a really great album, and I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, Lauren's...
Anyone else know the album?
Well, Lauren's music in general, I feel, is just... I mean, it's more than a girl with a guitar kind of pub alternative, like you were saying. It's... Her songs really have these deep meanings to them. I mean, it's amazing... Like you said, Luke, she can take an entire chapter and make an album out of it.
It's incredible.
And the emotion that she conveys in her songs is simply amazing. I think that's what makes her an incredibly talented artist in this Wizard Rock community.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of belting out It's Real for Us in my car when it comes on.
I never listened to this one, so I'm going to have to listen to it.
You've got homework.
Now I know what I'm listening to on the commute.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
So be sure to follow Lauren at LaurenFairWX on Twitter and check out her YouTube channel for vlogs, DIY, and more original music. Send in your Wizard Rock recommendations to at LucaFerocious and at Hogwarts Radio on Twitter with the hashtag RockList, WROCK list, for suggestions on which Wizard Rock album or artist I should listen to for next week.
And I'll definitely be hitting up Luke's Spotify playlist to check out this album. So if you would also like to see it, it is Hogwarts Radio Rock on Spotify, and you can listen along each week and send us your thoughts.
Okay, Luke, I know you got to peace out. It was an early episode for you, but you got some things to take care of. So,
all right. Well, as always, it's been fun.
Bye, Luke.
Bye. Bye, Stormy.
You know what's so hard about taking the week off? It's something that you literally can't do nowadays with all this news coming out. Just, a couple weeks ago, we had 7-8 news stories. I think this week, Gretchen, you have quite a few, but I love it. It's amazing that there's still so much news coming out of Warner Brothers, coming out of the fandom, coming out of celebrations because it's that time of the year. We have a lot of stuff coming out of the theme park. So, gosh, I guess we'll just break it down one by one this week. And Gretchen, what do we have on tap first?
All right. So first we've got the Dark Arts are coming to the Warner Brothers Studio Tour in London this fall. It sounds like it's going to be a really awesome event. It's running from September 28th until November 10th. So you've got a good while to catch it. And basically it's going to be a special feature dedicated to the Dark Arts right on time with Halloween. So it'll be really cool to line up with that. You can learn combat moves with wand choreographer Paul Harris. You can take part in a live duel with Death Eaters. There's going to be like floating pumpkins and special treats. And it just sounds like it's going to be a really cool kind of Dark Arts inspired event at the Studio Tour. I've never been to the Studio Tour. Have you guys?
I'm going to London in about a month. So I'm hoping to hit it up. And I mean, I know it's going to be before this Dark Arts thing happening. I mean, I know that it takes place from September 28th, and I'll be there probably the week prior to that. But I am looking forward to going and seeing what they have over there because, it's been a couple of years. I think it's a much needed trip.
Yeah, I agree. I really would like to go. This seems like a cool time to go. So if you're going to hit it up, let us know what you thought and maybe send some pictures our way. We will share them because that would be sweet.
And let me live vicariously through you.
Yeah, let us live vicariously through you at Hogwarts Radio. So this one's a little bit sooner. Cinemark Theaters is celebrating the 20th anniversary of Sorcerer's Stone with a Harry Potter movie marathon. So they're going to air all the Potter films and the Fantastic Beasts film. And you can either see the individual films for $5, or if you want to see them all, you can get a festival pass for $25, and then you can just come and go as you please. And with that festival pass, you also get a collectible keychain, a commemorative festival badge, and a specially designed fillable collector's cup, which is really cool. And you can refill that cup for the whole rest of the year. Plus, you can buy a Fantastic Beasts cup if you want, which you can use again until November 16th and at the premiere of Crimes of Grindelwald. And they're going to have merchandise for sale. So this event sounds awesome. It's super cost effective, like the most affordable event I've seen in a very long time. And there are no Cinemark theaters near me. How about you guys?
Yeah.
We have them near me, but I'm actually going to be out of town for like half of this. But I really want the merch that they're giving away, so I'm still considering buying the festival pass, even though I won't be able to go to the first half of it.
So if you do have a Cinemark, you want to kind of jump onto that festival pass.
Yeah.
Turns out there is one near me. Nice. Hey guys.
I think the only Cinemark near me is like a $1.50 theater, you know, one of those dollar movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think they can have this here, but still, this is really cool because for $25, you get all these merchandise. You get the access to, you know, the movies all week long. But I think one of the coolest things to come out of this is that you can refill your cup for just $3.50. And if you've been to the movies recently, you'll know that a drink can run you between $5 and $10, depending on the size.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
And so just this alone pays for that. What, like, you go like 3 or 4 times and it pays for the pass itself. So yeah, that's gonna be that's pretty cool.
No, yeah, that's great. My roommate has never seen any of the Harry Potter movies or read any of the Harry Potter books. I know it's astounding, but she promised me she'd watch all of the movies. So if this one is doing it near me, I'm taking her.
Yeah, that would.
Oh yeah,
that would be a good way for them to, you know, people that haven't seen it in the theater, because, guys, this is truly a different experience in the theater, seeing these movies. I mean, you have not only the big surround sound and just the immersion of being in the theater environment, but you're seeing them up on it like a 30-foot screen, which is really, really cool. I don't know many people that have 30-foot screens in their homes.
Not me.
I wish.
I wish.
But I mean, and that's part of the magic of the movies as well, and that's great that people are going to be able to relive that a little bit. You know, I'm always a fan of these kind of things. Like whenever Jurassic Park was re-released in theaters, heck yeah, I went. Whenever Titanic was released, I went and saw that like 15 times again. You know, it's part of the overall moviegoer experience, and some people, you know, have this second chance to be able to view the films in theaters, and I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, I had never seen Sorcerer's Stone in theaters until maybe 2 years ago. They just happened to be playing it over Christmas break at our local cheapie theater, and so we went, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my first time seeing this on the screen, and it was just so awesome. It's such a great experience. So shocker, we've got more Funko Pop news.
Wait, what?
Who would have thought?
Huh?
More merchandise for us to buy. So this is 5-star figures. So they have 3 points of articulation. So we were talking before about how Smarmy Lucart, he can only move his head back and forth. So these will have 3 different points where they can move and kind of be posed. And they come in these display boxes that mimic the opening of a book. And they also come with an adorable accessory related to the characters. So it's kind of cool. So you can get Harry with Hedwig and his Hogwarts letter, Ron with Scabbers and a chocolate frog, Hermione with a quill and Hogwarts a history, Dumbledore with Fox, and Hagrid with the Happy Birthday Harry cake. And they're only, or you can get all of them for $40. So that's pretty cool. And they're also going to have exclusives at Walmart, which are slightly different versions of Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Hagrid, plus Snape that you can only get at Walmart, who's going to have a cauldron and a potion bottle. So guys, are these must-buys as well? What are you thinking?
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking on Amazon Prime right now at this Harry one. It's only $10.70. This is great. I like these a lot better than just the regular Funko Pops. They look a little less creepy. You know, the eyes on all of the other ones make them creepy, especially Dobby. Oh my goodness.
Dobby is a little frightening.
Yeah.
You know what scares me about Dobby is the 10-foot Dobby has toenails, and it is the weirdest thing. Or 10-foot.
The 10-foot Dobby.
I don't
I'm
need a
trying to imagine
10-foot Dobby.
That would be really terrifying in like the Funko looking thing, but 10 feet tall.
But I do like these a little better. And I like the little accessories too. I think that's what the other collections are missing.
Yeah, I really like the accessories. They're very cute.
The full collection for $40. So that includes all of them then. That includes Harry, Ron, Hermione, Hagrid, and Dumbledore, right?
And yep. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Hagrid, and Dumbledore.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so if you're getting, I mean, you might as well, if you're going to get all of them, you might as well get that deal because it's like you're getting one for free, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So super cool. And you're saving on shipping too if you go through Amazon Prime. It's really neat.
There you have it. So there's been a lot of talk. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. There's been all this Globus Mundi stuff kind of popping up in Diagon Alley at Universal Studios Florida, and people have been like, what's going on? And we're kind of seeing it other places too. So like Twitter. And we're hoping now that maybe we'll figure it out because it's been more obvious what's going on at Universal Studios in Diagon Alley. Construction, we think, has started. It appears that work walls have gone up in front of the House Elf Placement Agency and Dr. Filibuster's storefronts. And we also have found out that it's not just a store, this Globus Mundi place. So what could that mean if this isn't just a store? What do you guys think?
I don't know. Okay, so I'm looking at their Twitter account right now. It says the description says a world of magic exists. We can send you there. So that automatically tells me it is some kind of a traveling agency kind of thing. They might have like a store where you can buy like the products of that particular agency and you can book trips maybe to destinations.
My first thought was like maybe they'll book you tours around the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Like they'll show you like, oh, you're gonna do a dark arts tour, and so we'll do Nocturne Alley and then we'll stop at Hogwarts, you know, like some kind of tours within the park would make sense to me.
It's the toilets in the ministry. From park to park, you go through the toilet.
You know, Gretchen, I didn't think about it being within the park. My original thought was, well, they're gonna book throughout the world, you know, going to see like the real life places, like being on the Hogwarts Express or getting to travel to all these different places that the movies were shot. I never thought that it would be like kind of an inter-park kind of thing. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that would be cool. I also could see it definitely being booking for other places, but that just seems weird to me as like a location you would visit because it seems like that would be easiest done not at a theme park, so I don't know.
No, that actually makes total sense. And it would be cool, you know, to have tours to point out some of the things that you might not have seen before. Like, you know, a lot of people just kind of take in the entire park. They don't really glance at the details too much. So you might be looking in different storefronts and seeing a copy of Magical Me by Gilderoy Lockhart, and then given some information about that at the same time as staying in character. So I think that would be really neat. A good experience to add to the theme park.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Bailey, have you seen any sign of this at the one in California?
No, this is strictly a Diagon Alley thing in Orlando. So unfortunately, it's not something that we'll be seeing out here anytime soon unless they decide to expand, which I don't know what space they would expand into, but I would love for them to.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be more information coming out because things that are under construction, unless they are massive undertakings with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, don't stay under construction for long. So I have a feeling that we'll know before the end of the summer what Globus Mundi is. Fun fact, Globus Mundi follows 25 accounts on Twitter, and we are one of them. So fascinating. Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
That's the news. All the news that's fit to podcast.
Is there news that's not fit to podcast? It's like,
yes, and I leave it out. I'm a professional.
Let's move on to some announcements before the show gets out of hand today. Rate and review our podcast on iTunes. Your support goes a long way to letting other Harry Potter fans know about the show. And guys, it just doesn't have to be iTunes. It can be wherever you get your podcast. And if they have a rating system and a review system, just leave us a rating and a review there. And it helps, other people that are looking for shows know what other Harry Potter fans think about Hogwarts Radio. Next, I had such a fun time at LeakyCon this past weekend. I was there for literally an hour. I was there from 10:15 to 11:15, and then I drove back because I had a lot of work things going on right now. But it was a 4-hour drive there, an hour panel, and then 4 hours back. So I was a part of the Harry Potter, Podder, a panel of Potter podcast hosts. And I had such a fun time. It was wonderful seeing everybody. Mike Schubert was there from the Potterless podcast that we had on the show once. Danny Chapman from Potterotica, Adriana Wilson from Accupolitics, Sequoia Thomas from Fanatical Fix and Where to Find Them, Vanessa Zoltan from Not Sorry Productions and the Harry Potter Sacred Text, and then Ariana Nettleman from Harry Potter and the Sacred Text. So it was a big panel. I mean, there were 7 of us up there, and it was just a lot of fun seeing everybody. And I'm sorry that I couldn't stick around and see the other panels, but I did have to get back down to San Antonio because I am just slammed with work right now. So it was so much fun seeing everybody. And this week, let's go ahead and move on to our discussion this week. We're continuing our Marauder series. I know we took a little bit of a detour the past couple of episodes, and I really, as we sit here and record this, I can't believe it's already episode 208. Seems like we just did 200 a few episodes ago. But we're going to be talking about the James Potter. Last time we talked about Peter Pettigrew. We're going James Potter this time, and everything associated with him. So let's give a little bit of background on James Potter. James, in my opinion, was, whenever I first read about him, was kind of a bully, and I don't like bullies. I mean, that's my big thing. Is I absolutely hate people that bully other people just so they can feel big, and I think that's what James did while he was at school. And you know that sticks with people for the rest of their lives. At least the people being bullied. Even though these bullies may grow out of it, just they're left, the people that were bullied, the victims, are left with those lasting impressions. And I think that's why Snape really never got over it.
Yeah, I don't like that about him. He's definitely not my favorite. And I actually posed the question on our Instagram, and if you're familiar with Instagram, you can do like a sliding thing almost. So it's kind of like picking on a scale. So I said, like, how do you rate James? And answers were super split. Some people answered literally 0, like the furthest to the left they could answer. Some people answered 100 all the way to the right. And then other people were in the middle, towards the not like end, towards the like end. So it seems like the consensus is not a consensus when it comes to James.
The consensus is not.
Mm-hmm.
The consensus is not. So it's very interesting. I'm excited to talk about him.
So let's dive into James Potter. James Potter, a.k.a. Prongs, was his Marauder's name. He was born on March 27th, 1960. He died October 31st, 1981, at the hand of Lord Voldemort. He is a pureblood, or was a pureblood, attended Hogwarts from 1971 to 1978. He is a Gryffindor, and his Patronus and Animagus were both a stag. Now, the actor of James was played by Adrian Rollins in the film adaptations of Sorcerer's Stone, Goblet of Fire, and Deathly Hallows. In Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Order of the Phoenix, footage from the earlier films were used. In Order of the Phoenix, James was played as a teenager by Robbie Jarvis, and as a child by Alfie McIlwain in Deathly Hallows Part 2 in flashback scenes. This means the only film adaptation in which James doesn't appear is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. By an interesting coincidence, Rollins was also born on 27th of March. That's pretty neat. James Potter himself. James was a tall, thin man with hazel eyes and untidy black hair that stuck up in the back. Gee, I wonder who that sounds like. During his years at Hogwarts, he had an air of having been well cared for and even adored. As late as his 5th year, he started wearing glasses. His son Harry was constantly noted to look very much like him, having the same untidy hair, thin face, mouth, eyebrows, and even hands. In his Animagus form, James was a tall and powerful red stag large enough to subdue an adolescent werewolf alongside Sirius's bear-like black dog form. So that's pretty neat. A lot of folks don't remember that James was an animagus. I mean, whenever we think we're so like the movies are just well ingrained into our heads, and we're thinking, oh, his Patronus. Yes, his Patronus was a stag, but he was also an animagus, very gifted at transfiguration, it seems. His personality: he was a clever, talented wizard, but very mischievous in his youth. He was arrogant and boastful, and occasionally bullied and jinxed other students just for fun, particularly his longtime rival, Severus Snape. However, even in the stage of arrogance, he still displayed some positive qualities of character. Despite being a pureblood, he strongly disagreed with the concept of blood purity and was disgusted with any prejudice towards Muggle-borns and did not hold prejudice toward werewolves. I want to ask the panel real quick here, because of that first little tidbit of his personality, why do you think he would have been a good fit in a different house? Do you think he asked to be placed in Gryffindor because his friends were in Gryffindor?
Yeah, I mean, Sirius would have been sorted first, so that's possible that he could have seen that and been like, oh, well, that's the house to be in. I'm down.
Right. And then Lupin, and then Pettigrew. So, like, all three of them were sorted ahead of James. So it's possible he was like, hey, yeah, I just want to be a Gryffindor now.
I mean, Gryffindors are supposed to show, like, bravery and everything, and you see plenty of people in Gryffindor House who, at first, you're like, why? Like, Neville, at first, you're kind of like, why? And then come, like, the 7th book, you're like, oh, that's why. James was a bit obnoxious at first, but in the end, he ended up having the kind of standard bravery thing that, you know, was required of the house.
So arrogant and boastful.
I definitely don't see him as being like a Hufflepuff type character, even though I think he has some qualities of a Hufflepuff. But he's just very gregarious and outgoing and fits into Gryffindor very well, especially when you tie that with his beliefs.
I mean, I think his beliefs are what actually saved him. You know, he was arrogant, boastful, bullied, and jinxed other students. That's textbook Slytherin right there, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, Slytherin house it's not a requirement to be a bully. It's just that a lot of bullies tend to fall under that category. But I don't know, I think that's kind of one of the things that makes him better, is because he did grow up in like a better off kind of house, like normal house, not like Hogwarts house, and you know what I mean. And so, you know, he kind of probably was spoiled, you know, only child and everything, got away with a lot, and that I don't know if he was so much of like I'm just trying to make fun of people to make them feel bad, or so much as just he's having a lot of fun and he doesn't think about any of the consequences until he gets into like his, what was it, 6th or 7th year, did they say?
Yeah, that's definitely true. And you're right, he ultimately matured and changed his ways, lost his arrogance, and stopped texting other people just for fun. He became enough of a responsible student and leader to be a head boy in his final year, and later a member of the original Order of the Phoenix. Though he never completely lost his rebellious side, it was clear that James had left Hogwarts a far better person than he had been upon entering it. And I think that's attested to just growing up, really. I mean, whenever you go there, you're an 11-year-old kid. I definitely was different, although some people may argue I was different than what I was whenever I was 11, you know, versus 17 or 18. So, yeah, I mean, you grow up there. That's what you do. His best quality was his willingness to sacrifice himself for his wife and son, as demonstrated when he told Lily to take Harry and run while he held off Voldemort without a wand, proving himself to be a true Gryffindor. Yeah, that's sad. I was sad reading that. Now,
I just love the way that sentence is. Like, his best quality was that he was like, yeah, I'll die. Oh, okay.
It's a kind of mean sentence.
He would do anything for his family.
I get it.
Even if it's ill.
When you phrase it like that, really, it sounds better. But when you phrase it as his best quality is he died.
Right. Yeah, his best quality was caring about his family is a much better way to phrase it.
Yeah, much better.
I agree with that.
So, was there a specific moment in James's life that finally caused him to mature up, or was it just kind of, like I said earlier, a natural part of growing up?
I don't think it was like a single event, like something happened and he was like, oh, I'm a tool. Like, I feel like it was a mix of him realizing the things that he wanted in life as he got older. It was no longer all about, yay, let's have fun. There were a lot of attacks from Death Eaters and Voldemort, plus the girl he was in love with was like, no, because you're annoying. And then he kind of started seeing the changes that if he made would benefit his life to what he wanted, and then I think he just kind of followed that track. And so maybe that's natural, I don't know.
We know that Lily really laid into him in, what was it, his sixth year or fifth? Oh my goodness, I can't remember. But whenever he was teasing Snape, and I mean, if there was any instance that helped him mature, I think that's actually what it was Lily just saying, hey, you know what, knock it off. This isn't funny, this isn't cute. And I think that he saw that people weren't laughing at that, and he's like, oh well, crap, I've got to man up now. I've got to start acting like I'm supposed to, because I mean, if you can't make that, if it's a natural part of growing up, like we said, it's not 1 year to another where, wow, there's that instant change. It's a gradual change over time. So if that was his 6th year that he was making fun of Snape, and then his 7th year he became head boy, there had to have been like some big, not traumatic, but big enough event that helped him like flip that switch. So that might have been it.
He definitely had a real quick turnaround.
He did, yeah.
James also had quite a few notable possessions that we hear about him in the series. First, he had the Potter inheritance that he received when his parents died. They left him a small fortune that he later passed on to his son Harry. James's wand, we learned that James's wand is 11 inches long, mahogany with an unknown core. The wand was described as pliable, slightly more powerful than Lily's wand, and excellent for transfiguration, which would later come in handy. He also had the invisibility cloak that was passed down through his family, and he and his friends often used during their days at Hogwarts to assist them in their mischief. Albus Dumbledore had the cloak prior to James's death, who then passed it down to Harry. James also helped in creating the Marauders map, between 1975 and 1978. The Marauders map is a magical document that reveals all of Hogwarts, and not only does it show every classroom, hallway, and corner of the castle, but it shows every inch of the grounds, all of the secret passageways that are hidden within the walls, and the location of every single person at Hogwarts.
Except for Peter Pettigrew.
Definitely did not show up on that map. Maybe because he helped create it. Who knows?
Right.
It's true, yeah.
Maybe they kept themselves off it.
Yeah.
Out of secrecy.
Yeah.
A cloaking spell. The Room of Requirement is the only known area of the castle which cannot be seen on the map other than the Chamber of Secrets. There was also a two-way mirror that James owned during his school years, and he and Sirius Black used so they could talk to each other while they were in separate detentions. Sirius later gave James's mirror to Harry in 1996. James owned the Potter Cottage in Godric's Hollow along with his wife Lily during the final weeks of the First Wizarding War. This is where he and his wife were murdered, and his son Harry was marked as the boy who lived. The cottage still stands as a reminder of what happened that Halloween night in 1981. And the Potters also owned a pet cat. What happened to it after the attack is anyone's guess.
Ooh, that's
Why do we even know that? That's such a random detail.
If there's anything that I know about J.K. Rowling, she just doesn't throw in random details for shits and giggles. I mean, like, this cat...
It's secretly Crookshanks.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
The theory.
Okay, she just threw it in, but all of us are the nerds going like, I wonder what happened to the cat.
But, okay, we know that the house was destroyed, and Harry had to stay there for like 24 hours, but what happened to the cat? Is the cat okay? Did the cat make it?
Voldemort killed James, went after the cat, and then went after Lily.
Important questions. Well, let's go back to the beginning of James's life. So he was born on March 27th, 1960 to Fleamont Potter and his wife Euphemia, which are the greatest names I've ever heard. I'm naming my son Fleamont. Get ready. Fleamont was an accomplished yet retired cosmetic potioneer and entrepreneur, best known for inventing Sleek Easy's hair potion in 1926. What blows my mind about that is, like, we learn about that in Goblet of Fire. Like, Harry knows that, but at no point is it mentioned that Harry's ancestor created that.
No one cared to tell him.
Right.
Especially, he struggled with his hair. Like, someone could have been like, hey, your granddad could have helped you out there.
He had a fix for you.
Yeah, there's Sleek Easy's hair potion that he used. So Sleek
Hermione didn't
Easy's.
look at the bottle and see the name Potter and be like, When Fleamont and Euphemia had James, they were elderly even by wizarding standards. I don't know what that means. I guess wizards can have children older than Muggles. That's an interesting fact. Having been conceived so late in his parents' lives, he was raised in a doting household with little material limits. Hence, it was no surprise that he grew to be proud, arrogant, and boastful, but deep down, still a good person. James started his first year at Hogwarts in 1971 and was sorted into Gryffindor House. While there, he befriended fellow Gryffindors Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew, and together they formed a small band known only to themselves as the Marauders. Though more mischievous than diligent, James proved to be a clever student. At some point during his education, he became chaser for his house's Quidditch team. As second years, James, Sirius, and Peter figured out that Remus was a werewolf, but rather than abandoning him, they spent 3 years learning to become animagi in order to accompany Remus in his transformations. In his 5th year, James managed to perfect the transformation and become a stag animagus, which earned him the nickname Prongs. Using their new nicknames, the 4 friends created the Marauders map, which displayed the Hogwarts castle area and everyone within it, which made sneaking out of the castle and avoiding teachers much easier. So it took them 3 years to learn to become animagi. I always say animagi because I'm Christian and like the Magi. So I apologize for that pronunciation.
I feel that.
You feel that? Animagi, I guess. It just sounds wrong.
I used to say that till my sister started yelling at me. So
They learned to become each an animagus. And like that blows my mind. Can you even imagine how much work went into that and research?
Yeah, on top of like already like all the school stuff that they already had to do. I mean, can you imagine like the practice sessions that they had? Like, I can imagine many trips to the hospital wing, and Madame Pomfrey's like, how did that hoof get there? Or something like that, That must be, it was a massive undertaking. I mean, in addition to creating the Marauders map, it seemed like they were all gifted, like in certain ways. And we'll get into them as we talk about each and every one. But, that's very advanced magic. And being able to, create a map of the entire school that shows what everybody's doing at every single moment of the day, with the exception of Chamber Secrets and the Room of Requirement, and to have to research on how to become animagus. That's crazy. That's a crazy amount of work.
It is. And I also am just thinking, like, it took until 5th year for them to be able to even help Remus. So that's like 4 years of him having to go through these transformations by himself. It's kind of sad.
But it is sweet that they were like, oh, we got you, buddy. And then we're like, what's the one idea we've got? Okay. And then stuck with it for 3 years. Like,
right. It's a bit of a long game.
Way sooner than that. Like, sorry, buddy, you're on your own. I'll give you chocolate when it's over.
Yeah.
Here,
we'll help you. Just give us 3 years to accomplish it.
Yeah.
But they stuck through that, and worked for 3 years to be able to do that. That showed how much they really cared for Remus, I think, to go through all that effort.
Yeah, it's a beautiful friendship. For the vast majority of his time at school, James was somewhat of an obnoxious youth with a love of showing off and exceptional self-confidence that bordered on arrogance. Snape once said that James was so arrogant that criticism simply bounced off him. This rebellious attitude was notably shaped by the negative qualities he developed, such as the habit of ruffling his hair to make it look as though he had just alighted from his broomstick and hexing innocent students for no other reason than because he could, especially Severus Snape. He just sounds so, what's the word?
Dreamy?
No. He sounds like such a jerk.
He's like, Yeah. Yeah, such a bad boy, right?
Ugh, gross. James and Snape had a strong rivalry throughout their time at Hogwarts. To Remus and Sirius, the reason this rivalry began was due to Snape's jealousy over James's talent at Quidditch and his popularity, as well as Snape's interest in the dark arts, which James despised. However, it was later revealed that James and Sirius had got off on the wrong foot with Snape from the beginning. When they first met Snape on the Hogwarts Express, they insulted him, and their further interactions only served to make their rivalry intense and permanent. Snape followed the Marauders around, looking for reasons to get them expelled. James, in turn, used the hexes Snape himself had made up against him.
Oh, that's bullshit stuff. Oh, can you imagine, like, being a creator of a hex and knowing what it does and then having that turned and used against you? What if Snape ever had like Septum Sempra used against himself? That had to be bad.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
At some point in their school years, Snape grew very interested in where Remus went every month and saw Madame Pomfrey and Remus going to the Shrieking Shack using a secret passage under the Whomping Willow. Sirius had told him that the trick to getting past the Whomping Willow was to poke the knot at the bottom. Snape followed Sirius's directions and was nearly at the Shrieking Shack when James pulled him back. At great risk to his own life, James saved Severus from certain death at the claws of the werewolf Remus, but Snape adamantly refused to believe that his old rival would have done him a favor, believing that James had only saved him in order to avoid expulsion and despised being in his debt.
Oh, that is so interesting. That is so interesting.
I have a lot of questions about that one, but mostly for Sirius, so I'll save it for the Sirius episode.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly for Sirius. Sirius, he done messed up.
James spent much of his academic career chasing after Lily Evans, an attractive Muggle-born fellow Gryffindor from Snape's hometown of Cokeworth, who was secretly Snape's best friend and childhood crush since before they both started at Hogwarts. Lily was perhaps the only student in school, aside from Snape, who was completely unimpressed by James, considering him arrogant and obnoxious. She once found James and his friends bullying Snape with a jinx Snape had created. Lily told him to stop, and James responded with, "I will if you'll go out with me, Evans." That's what he sounds like. When James took the jinx off, Snape, in his humiliation and anger, called Lily a filthy little mudblood. That's what Snape sounds like. James demanded he apologize, but Lily responded that James was as bad as Snape, and she would not date him, even if it were a choice between him and the giant squid.
That's Lily. Yes.
That's Lily. Snape's friendship with the vivacious and pretty Lily may have sparked envy in James and further fueled the hate between the two. Thoughts on that?
Can you imagine?
Probably.
Can you imagine James going up to Lily and using like a cheap pickup line, like, "Hey, demise, dough."
I can promise that happened. That's not even headcanon, this one. That's just straight up canon.
Do we think like this is the single event that changed him? You know, he's like, "Oh, I will if you go out with me," and then like seeing how much that hurt, like you seeing how much Snape hurt Lily by saying "filthy little mudblood," and because that was the end of Snape and Lily, of their friendship right there.
Yeah, I feel like James maybe didn't have a lot of empathy originally. Like, he just didn't maybe understand what that was like. He didn't realize that maybe he should think about how other people feel. And maybe seeing how Snape's words affected Lily, he was like, oh, shoot, like, the things I say to people actually do matter, and like jinxing strangers maybe isn't cool. So how about I be a little bit nicer? Like, I think this could have been a catalyst for him to change his ways.
Yeah, definitely.
At the age of 16, James's parents allowed Sirius to move in with them so he could escape his own horrible family, and Sirius soon became an unofficial member of their family. By his 7th year, James had lost the less savory aspects of his personality and was even appointed head boy, despite the fact that he had not been a prefect. That seems ridiculous to me, but okay, JK. I don't believe that at all, but if that's what you want to say happened, sure.
He also, they don't make the best decisions always in Hogwarts.
That's a good point.
They hired. Come on.
That's a very good point. James also finally managed to impress Lily Evans and began dating her at this time. He stopped hexing bystanders for fun. Well done. Though he still secretly hexed Snape. No! And in turn, Snape never lost an opportunity to hex him back. James! Don't hex anyone.
No, there was no way he was gonna start being nice to Snape after the calling her a mudblood incident, though. Like, he already hated him, and then that, and he's got to be all like,
yeah, I guess so. I don't know, but it doesn't really explain like why I mean, I guess he lost the less savory aspects of his personality, so maybe she like found him more attractive, but why would Lily just suddenly start dating him?
That's what I want to know. It's like, hey,
Well,
what did he do?
I say this as someone who loves James. He was a bit of a bad boy, but not a bad boy to the degree where you were like, he's a terrible person. You're just like, stop doing all these annoying things. And then when he ends up kind of losing those, you can see why he would have a sort of charm to certain people and a complete repulsion to others. So maybe she just liked the whole bad boy aesthetic he had once he stopped being
A real bad boy.
Yeah, a real bad boy. Yeah.
Yeah, once he was just like a fake one, she's like, oh, okay, that's cute.
I can get with that. So
I don't know, maybe he was kind of growing out of some of the pranks that they were playing as, you know, kind of the Marauders and stuff. I mean, obviously he still had horrible feelings against Snape, but and those really never went away. But, you know, as they grew up, as the Marauders grew up, it's like they stopped being childish. They stopped doing childish things, and instead of doing childish things together, they would just kind of, I don't know, hang out in the common room instead, or, you know, find a corridor, go hang out there, play some exploding snap.
Joining the Order of the Phoenix and stuff. So they were like, now they've become heroes with the bad boy aesthetic. So
in late 1977, Lily and James had a disastrous first meeting with Lily's sister Petunia Evans and her then fiance Vernon Dursley, which presumably took place over Christmas break as they were both still at Hogwarts. That word was Christmas. Christmas break. Start up. Took place over Christmas break as they were both still at Hogwarts. When Vernon tried to impress James with his car, the wizard in turn boasted of his own material wealth, and a fight ensued. The evening ended with both Vernon and Petunia storming out of the restaurant, Lily bursting into tears, with James promising he'd apologize, which he never did. Petunia was married by the end of 1977. Though Lily and James were invited to the wedding, Petunia refused to have Lily as a bridesmaid, upsetting her deeply. At the reception, Vernon would not talk to James, but described him as some magician within his earshot.
Some magician.
That was
I had wizard friends. That's how I introduced them to him. As some magician.
This is some magician. I don't know.
Gosh, I really, you know, this is one of the things that I wish didn't happen. That Lily and Petunia really didn't have this falling out. I don't know. I feel like that it would have, obviously it would have benefited the situation, but I just wanted Lily and James to kind of have, you know, kind of be normal. I don't know what I'm trying to say with this. Like, I didn't want there to be a falling out with Vernon and Petunia. I wish that didn't happen.
It's just extra sad because Petunia was just jealous. She just saw all these cool things that Lily got to do, and she was like, oh, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can easily see why she was jealous, but like, she let it go way too far.
Yeah.
I think had Petunia married someone who was less Vernon-like, they might have had a chance of actually having a relationship despite Petunia's jealousy.
Yeah.
No, I can see that. Yeah, he only fed into her jealousy.
He literally turned her into a Dursley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to talk about the death of James Potter. This is very, very sad. Very sad. So let's set the scene with this. When the Dark Lord arrived at Godric's Hollow on Halloween in 1981, James told Lily to take Harry and run. After his wife and son were out of the room, he stood to face the most dangerous dark wizard of all time on his own, in order to give his wife and child time to escape the cottage. However, James made a fatal mistake. He had left his wand in the living room, where he had been entertaining his young son with it before Voldemort's arrival. Voldemort effortlessly killed him with the killing curse. James fell, quote, like a marionette whose strings were cut.
I mean, that's pretty hardcore death right there, though. Just like, wand, and Voldemort comes blasting through the door ready for a fight, and he's like, just puts his fists up, like, I don't know.
Oh my god, I should totally rap that part. I should be like, yo.
You just did!
No, I did. When the Dark Lord arrived at the Godric's Hollow, James told Lily to take Harry. I won't follow.
Next time Luke's Wizard Rock, it's Terrence doing.
After his wife and son were out the room, he stood to face the most dark broom because he was facing the wrong way. I don't know. So very, very sad how he was murdered, but very, very brave, very courageous. Very courageous. And again, probably his most redeeming quality.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
If there's anything to like about James, it's the way that he died, I guess, which is terrible to say. But
his reasons for dying.
Right. It kind of showed his
sacrifice.
It showed his true nature. His ability to love and sacrifice himself for those that he loves. That's a very beautiful, honorable thing.
And that does wrap up our discussion on James Potter. On next Marauders discussion, I'm not going to say next episode because we never know what's going to happen nowadays. We could have another trailer drop like this week sometime. I don't think that's going to happen, but still. On our next one, we'll discuss Sirius Black and then Remus Lupin to wrap it up. Well, let's get into our final segment of the day, and this is Would You Rather? Okay, Bailey, this is your Would You Rather. Would you rather, this is kind of cross-fandom here, would you rather spend the rest of your life in the Hogwarts library or the Beauty and the Beast library?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna say the Hogwarts library because I feel like there's so much to learn about magic, and I would love to read all of the books about all of the magical things.
That's true, but there's a lot of books in the library in Beauty and the Beast.
But do any of them scream at you?
Maybe.
Can I learn how to make a Horcrux out of any of them?
Never know. Magical enchantments and everything's like that. Yeah. Far off places. A prince in disguise. Okay. Okay, well, that was too easy. I guess I'll get you back next week.
All right, Kelsey, would you rather raise a horde of baby nifflers or an army of bowtruckles?
Oh no. Okay, well, hold on. An army of bowtruckles. Are they an army? Like, I take them to war.
If you train them to, sure.
Oh man, that's the hardest question anyone's ever asked me in my life. Probably the horde of nifflers, because I can send them out and bring me gold and shiny things, and I too like shiny things. So, I mean, I feel like that it's very close between the two of them, but I'm gonna say the horde of nifflers because I also get free stuff out of it. So, all right, Gretchen, would you rather be one of Hagrid's magical creatures or one of Newt's magical creatures? Or I guess Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, you're one of them.
Okay, it doesn't matter which beast I am.
Any one, but you're under their
protection.
Yeah, protection.
Wow, that's actually a hard choice because they both love their animals so much, and they both are mommies to their babies. Oh, so I guess it's more a question of where do I want to be in the world? Because Hagrid kind of stays at Hogwarts, so do I want to live only at Hogwarts? Or do I want to be with Newt, who...
Well, Newt's going to travel, but also you have to remember that Hagrid teaches now. So you could
Hagrid's busy, yeah.
He could be teaching stuff about you to his students.
I don't know if I want people learning about me either. So I think I'm going to go with Newt, because I love Eddie Redmayne. Not that that's what you're asking at all, but and I also think traveling the world would be fun in his suitcase of other beasts. We can all hang out and all talk about our mommy Newt. I think it'd be a fun time. Good question. So Terrence, inspired by our discussion, would you rather spend 3 years trying to accomplish one thing, whatever that thing may be, or would you rather spend 7 years chasing the same person and trying to get them to like you?
Well, I've done one of those things, but I think the 3-year one would be it'd be a little bit better because by then there's a skill that you can retain, right? There's something that you've learned, you've invested your time in. The other one, you've just wasted 7 years, so
unless it pays off, like it paid off for James.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, it didn't pay off for me. It didn't pay off for me in my situation.
I appreciate that answer. I dig it.
Well, guys, that does wrap up our episode for this week. A little bit longer than usual, but we want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. And I've got like a special outro for you guys. So you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Lay it on us.
Bated breath.
Should I use, because I want to use music in it, so should I use the same music that I was using earlier? Let me try that. Let's try that out. Let's see. It's not even going to mash up. The outro of Hogwarts Radio. Oops. And here we go. Yo, we'd like to thank our guests for speaking their mind. I'm sorry, but we're all out of time. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Don't worry, we'll be back with next week's show. Luke's got the jams. Don't forget, we're also on Patreon, so sign up today. Just a few more dollars goes a real long way. Now we're wrapping it up. We've had a lot of fun. I'm the host with the most, Terrence Pinkston.
And look for Terrence's EP dropping soon.
What up?
That was the best thing I've ever heard. Next time someone asks me who my favorite rapper is, I'm telling them it's you.
DJ Skippy T on the ones and twos. Anyway.
I'm Bailey Riddle.
I'm Gretchen Rush.
And I'm Kelsey Cooper.
And that's it. We'll see you guys next week for episode 209. Bye-bye.
That was bloody brilliant.
Codswallop.